Welcome in, everybody. Brendan Gaughan Racin. How about this? Jeff, Molly, and I both back in the fabulous South Point studio together again, baby.
It's very nice to be here. I can see each other in the flesh.
You know, we're between me and you, it's kind of like a Where's Waldo game of where we're at every week. But we are back in studio after an amazing Watkins Glen race, and we're back at the South Point studio together.
Kind of like a Daytona or Talladega kind of race at Watkins Glen.
I'll tell you
It was
what,
crazy.
Putting it in the playoffs was kind of fun, wasn't it? I mean, it definitely shook some things up. And how about, I will have to eat crow right off the bat. I said I thought SVG was going to be good. But I thought, I think that Watkins Glen, the way the track is, it wasn't going to quite. I apologize to SVG for anything. Please tell Marcus Ambrose that I apologize. I will never doubt the skills of the Thunders from Down Under. I know you're a Kiwi. He's not an Aussie. Don't. But still, they were absolutely amazing. But how about the guy we bragged about all last week, Jeff? The guy that was 12 of the last 14 races, top 10. Finally broke through with the W. Chris Buescher, the guy that absolutely has been on it on road courses. We've talked about it. We've ad nauseum. The guy that cashes tickets, the guy that does everything. How about the pass on the last lap of the greatest race car road course guy in NASCAR?
Well, I think that was maybe the most impressive thing. I mean, first off, I was incredibly impressed with Shane Van Gisbergen going from third to first on the last restart. He made an incredible move to get to first. But then for Buescher to get him back, and Van Gisbergen made a slight mistake.
And he said he messed up.
He made a slight mistake, but Buescher was there ready to pounce. I'm sure there's a part of Chris Buescher that says, little, too late. He'd like to have had that win. And it's kind of a little bit disappointing now that Watkins Glen is not going to be in the playoffs next year, because it did make for an incredible race. And you know what was also incredible? If you were a playoff driver, holy smokes. I mean, how many playoff drivers finished in the top 10?
None.
2? Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, only 2?
Yeah, I mean, that was...
2 top 10s for the entire...
Yeah. Well, how about lap
field.
one? Lap one for Gaughan Racin, my bets, for everybody has to go... Every once in a while, you have to have a bad game, right? 0 for 5. But on lap one, I lost Denny Hamlin in his group and Kyle Busch in his group. I went...
And Ryan Blaney was right there behind him.
And Ryan, so I mean, we got decimated on lap one of our picks. But,
my 100-1 pick of Brad Keselowski, I think if I had said, okay, he was going to be in 100 accidents, I would have been better off. Because it seemed like every time I looked up, I was like, come on. And it was one time he was up there like 4th or 5th. I'm like, holy smokes, maybe something can happen. And I guess next thing I know, he's pointing in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
again.
if you were a playoff driver, it was a rough day for you. Absolutely wild day. But it was not a rough day for the winner, Chris Buescher. And Chris, 20-1 to win the race, which I thought was a little high, but hell of a W for him. Top 3 was plus 800, plus 250 for Group C. Top 4 with the win, plus 400. Absolutely fantastic returns for Chris Buescher if you had him. And then the top 10, Jeff, let's talk about the top 10 numbers first. You've got SVG was a plus 180. Okay. You've got 40-1 for Carson Hocevar for a top 3.
The top 3 for Carson Hocevar. That was a heck of a run for Carson Hocevar. And sometimes these young guys, when you got all those multiple restarts, they tend to get shuffled out. And he actually made up
the shuffling.
Right. He made up spots. He did an amazing job.
We talked about this before the show. Look at this top 10. If you were horse racing, there is no superfecta in the world that would have had this top 10. Carson Hocevar 3rd. Ross Chastain, okay, sure. Zane Smith. Who on their bingo card had Spire Motorsports with 3 cars in the top 10? Anyone?
Well, that is pretty incredible.
Anyone?
And speaking of Zane Smith, ever since he was told he wasn't coming back next year,
run pretty good.
You almost wonder if they haven't regretted that decision, because I'll tell you, he's been terrific.
But Hocevar 3rd in Spire, Zane Smith 5th with Spire, and Corey LaJoie 8th with Spire. 3 Spire cars in the top 10. Chase Briscoe in the top 10. McDowell, we expect. Ryan Preece.
Yeah, you don't expect that out of Ryan Preece on a road course. Another solid run. But again, when you look at that top 10 and you don't see Hamlin, you don't see Larson,
Elliott.
You don't see Bell, Elliott,
Reddick.
Byron, Reddick. You don't see any of those folks, any of the Truex.
Yeah,
none of those names. They're Busch. I mean, none of these names are up there that you would expect, especially at a place like Watkins Glen, where guys like Chase Elliott and Truex and Kyle Busch have been so dominant over the years.
And now let's talk about the points. You get to the point situation. How about Austin Cindric is 3rd in points? Austin Cindric, the guy that we thought would probably, he might not make it through the first round. He was kind of near the back of it. Austin Cindric is 3rd in points.
And Daniel Suarez is 5th.
Is 5th in points. You're looking at the cutoff line. Denny Hamlin is right now behind the cutoff line.
Denny Hamlin is 6 points below the cutoff line. Brad Keselowski's 12 points.
Martin Truex Jr. is 14 points, and Harrison Burton 20. Now, Denny's made a lot of news this week saying he's not a must-win. Him and Chris Gabehart, not a must-win. Absolutely not a must-win. But you look, I mean, we're not talking. Chase Briscoe is tied with Ty Gibbs for the last spot. Then you have William Byron, a little bit of a cushion, 19 points above the cutoff line.
Yeah, so, I would say right now, if you're in that top 10, as long as you don't do something stupid at Bristol, you should feel pretty good about where you are.
Which could happen.
Unless Martin Truex Jr. wins at Bristol.
Martin Truex wins at Bristol. Then you have another battle royale. But how about, I mean, nobody, look, we've talked about Denny Hamlin. Sometimes Denny has a history. And I got to say, I heard some of his stuff saying he was looking for 20 points in Atlanta. And, Chris Gabehart has not been a fan of how Denny ran these first couple rounds. And he's said, whoa, we're going to Bristol. This is our house. So Denny's got some making up to do, but it's only 6 points.
I think if you're Denny, number one, you need to qualify well because you need stage points. I'm not saying you got to win the stage, but you need to lead. You need to run top 3, top 4.
He can't let Ty Gibbs and Chase Briscoe both get 4th and 5th, stage points. That just keeps widening that gap. So Denny and if you look, that run that Denny Hamlin was the best in the sport again, he was qualifying 1st, 3rd, 2nd, 4th, 7th, 9th, 8th. And then all of a sudden, these last 6, 7 races, he's been 30s, 20s, 30s, 10s, problems. And qualifying is a big deal, which, as we talk, look, you're listening on Sirius. We're doing this show really early. Everybody knows that we talk about this all year. We do this on Thursdays. We don't have the advantage of looking at qualifying to make our picks. So if you're a bettor, we always say, wait till you get to Saturday, Sunday to make your picks. But man, if you're Denny Hamlin, you need to be sitting here on Thursday saying, I have to qualify better. And they do. That's been a big key to their success.
And I think, at Bristol, a pit stop can mean the world at pit stop. And we know that's something that over the years that you've never really known what you're getting sometimes with that 11 squad. So they need to be on their game. Everybody on that team has got to be absolutely focused on nothing but this, not worrying about signing charter agreements and not this or that or how we did the last 2 weeks. They've got to be all in, and literally the last thing they need to be looking at is the checkered flag at Bristol. Nothing beyond that.
Well, and Ryan Blaney, look, let's talk about how lucky Ryan Blaney is. You said it all season long about playoff points. Playoff points matter. Playoff points matter. Ryan Blaney didn't win a lot of races, but got a lot of stage wins through the season. Really did a lot of good on that side of things. And he finished dead last, but he's still 8th in points, way above the cut line.
Well, one thing that helped a lot of these guys is that everyone did poorly last week. The only one who... Well, the 2 guys that really benefited were Briscoe and Cindric.
And Austin. Yep.
Right. So Briscoe and Cindric really benefited, but
we're 2 guys that we said were on your favorite to miss the second round.
I would agree.
So good for them.
I still think one of them's going to miss.
I love this playoff format.
It is great. I'm sold on it ever since they started doing this. I love this.
I dig it. Let's talk about the upcoming races real quick. You have, of course, the last round of the first round of the playoffs. You have the Bristol night race. If you're a race fan, Jeff, this is the look, you and I both are home court favorites, right, with Vegas. I don't care what Vegas does. Nothing is as cool as the Bristol night race. Then we head to Kansas.
To me, it is a bucket list event for people. If you are a NASCAR fan and there's one race, you said, okay, we got the Daytona 500. That's a different animal, right?
The Bristol night race.
But the Bristol night race.
I still think a drunk fan can make it from the top to the track. That thing is so tall. It's
they're going to play a baseball game there next year.
I heard about that.
The Braves and the Reds are going to play.
That's kind of cool.
Already had a football game. I don't want to talk about it, but
after Bristol, then the second round, the round of 12, we call it in NASCAR, starts. You got the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas, then the Yellowwood 500 Talladega, a crapshoot race, and then the Roval at Charlotte.
Well, and after Watkins Glen last week, I'm going to call the Roval a crapshoot race too. I think we're going to have 2 in a row.
Another amazing second round of the playoffs, which could give us some surprising stuff. Then you start the round of 8, the third round of the playoffs here at, of course, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway with the South Point 400. Never heard of that place. Hey, never heard of that place. Got a famous guy on the bottom.
It's funny. We sit there and we always show the 5 upcoming races on the screen. And when I finally see the South Point 400 pop up on the screen, the first thing I think of is, holy smokes, I got a lot of work to do.
We're going to get busy here.
You and I have a lot of work to do because it's funny. You're not even racing anymore, and you're busier than you were when you were racing.
I wish I could be back behind the wheel because it meant I actually had time to myself.
Yeah, you can kind of tell everybody I got a more important
I have
job.
a job I have to do. But I want to point out, though, the South Point 400 bottle at the South Point. Got my buddy Kyle Larson on it.
Yeah, if you're listening on Sirius XM, come down to the South Point here when you're in town for the race.
I got to say, normally we have bottles left for sale after the slot promotion. I'm sorry, folks. I don't know if we're going to have any Kyle Larson bottles left, but thank you to Mr. Hendrick Motorsports and Kyle for letting us do this. First year we've done a Champions Series bottle, and so we were really excited about that. Thank you to Kyle a ton. That was super cool of him.
And I'm sure he is quite looking forward to getting to Vegas to race because he has been quite strong at Las Vegas lately.
Well, let's talk about good at Bristol, and we have some great track records. Starts off with a guy, what have you done for me lately? But the guy at the top of the list, our old buddy Kyle Busch, 19 top 10s and 35 races. Pretty darn good right there.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's the thing. I mean, I think we all know Kyle Busch's history at Bristol, but we also know Kyle Busch's history at a lot of racetracks. Mm-hmm. And really, we had seen Kyle Busch kind of starting to get it going. Watkins Glen.
Last week was last week.
I don't even know what to say of Watkins Glen.
He got wrecked by Corey LaJoie. He's mad at Corey again. What else is new?
Well, exactly. Well, so the whole Watkins Glen thing, it's almost kind of like you throw that out the window a little bit. But we talked about Denny Hamlin.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to Bristol. If you're Denny Hamlin and you need a race, if you need a race,
this is it.
This, other than maybe a Richmond or Martinsville, this is it for him.
How about the guy at the bottom of the sheet, though, for us, if you're looking on the stream? Ty Gibbs, 3 races, 2 top 10s, 1 top 5. We've talked about Ty Gibbs. This has been a breakthrough year. Could this be the race that Ty breaks through? And he needs it. He's on that bubble.
Well, I think it's certainly a possibility. It's interesting the fact that there's a lot on the line for 2 Gibbs cars with Hamlin and Ty Gibbs. Well, just talking about Gibbs and Hamlin there too, and Truex. Bell's in pretty good shape. So, I kind of move with you. I think it's a race that's going to be pretty interesting for that whole group.
There's some guys that have some great stats here. There's some guys that don't have some good stats here. When we come back on Gaughan Racing, Mr. Motley, we will get to the odds to win and give you more of those stats on who is good and possibly who I don't think is very good, which last week it was us. We weren't very good.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Two of us in the box. Brennan Gaughan, Jeff Motley. We are in the box, as Ann just told us.
Was Ann from Boston now
She's
or
from
something?
Boston. She's parking the car.
Parking the car.
I had actually a buddy of mine on the Georgetown team was from Southie, and his sister Khalil, his sister, actually used to say, I mean, I used to make her say "Pak de kat de Havard." It was so cute.
You know, one thing I love about when we go to New Hampshire for the NASCAR series.
Lobster.
But I also love the Stuart Haas Twitter account, Mike Arning, and that group.
They do a great job.
They do a great job on their Twitter account by basically phonetically sounding everything out like they were from New England or the Boston area. Always cracks me up.
It is fun.
I even told Arning one time how much I enjoyed that. So.
Welcome back in, Gaughan Racing. Jeff Motley, Brennan Gaughan here, South Point Studio, breaking down now what is the Bristol night race. And we're starting off with the odds to win the race, Jeff. And odds on, absolutely the favorite, who you would believe he would be the favorite. No question about it. Denny Hamlin is plus 400. Christopher Bell is next at plus 600 with Kyle Larson right there. Brad Keselowski plus 800. Then you got double digits. Ty Gibbs, Martin Truex Jr. both at 12-1. Ryan Blaney, Chris Buescher both 14. William Byron, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick all at 16. And Kyle Busch 20-1 on our first page. These odds from the South Point. Jeff, I just talked about Ty Gibbs. A lot of pressure, do you say in his sophomore season, the pressure, does that, but a 12-1 return, hell, I don't actually, Kyle Larson is plus 600. He's only got 8 starts in the last 10, 7 top 10, 6 top 5s and win, best average finish 5.3.
Yeah, and two guys also that I really like the number that they've got beside their name. The guy who just is coming off a win at Watkins Glen, who also has got a win in this race at Bristol, Chris Buescher, 14-1. I think that's a really good number on Chris Buescher because, look, he showed he's hungry. Mm-hmm. He didn't have to worry about pulling over for some playoff driver. I mean, other than maybe Keselowski, he isn't pulling over for anybody to help him out. And the other guy, Tyler Reddick. I mean, let's throw out this road course. Mm-hmm. Tyler Reddick has run really, really well the second half of the season, and I think 16-1 on Tyler Reddick. I just love those numbers on Buescher and Reddick, 14-1 and 16-1. I'm also with you. I think both those guys at 12-1, Ty Gibbs and Truex. I'm trying to decide on Truex. Does Truex want to go out with a bang, or does Truex just want to get the heck out?
I don't know. Truex is that conundrum that we've had, kind of the last couple of years. Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson. What do you do? Do you keep flogging the horse saying he's got to be Martin Truex? But the Chris Buescher thing, I absolutely love. First, 4th, and 7th in the last 3 races there for Chris Buescher. Tyler Reddick, he's run great there, but his finishes suck. He's got 1 top 10 in his 6 starts there on the pavement, not dirt. Right. So that's the problem. Is Tyler Reddick? He's gotten in Hasselhoff's. It seems like every race they go to Bristol, something happens and it hurts Tyler Reddick. So that's the only reason I don't disagree with why he's 16-1, because he's got the stats to prove it. But do we see Kyle Busch? This 8 wins, Jeff Motley. When you talk about even what have you done for me lately with Kyle Busch, where we've said, hey, it hasn't been great lately. This is a place, 21st, 34th, 20th, and 25th last 4. Do we say the king is dead? Or with what he was doing before the road course, remember, he was on fire the last 3 races before the road course. Do we say that trend continues?
Well, I think one thing that, like you said, what we've seen with Kyle Busch is we've seen that that whole Childress team has gotten better, over the last couple months of the season. I mean, even with Austin's great run at Richmond, with not the finish notwithstanding, he still had a great run. I think 20-1 is probably the kind of number that you might be willing to go and
there were some weeks he was
take
40.
A gamble on.
There was weeks he was 40. We said, ain't taking a shot. 20-1 this week. I could see me putting a couple bucks right here on Kyle Busch. Let's wait till qualifying, right? I mean, you and I don't have that luxury, but wait till qualifying. Kyle Busch qualifies 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And he looks,
if he qualifies well, then I think he finishes well, because I think he will manage the race. Yep. Winning it's going to be tough, but 20-1 is a good number, though. I
might take a long shot this week with a Kyle Busch win bet just because he's hungry. Ain't nobody more hungry in the sport than him. Let's get to the second page at the South Point. Ross Chastain is 30 with Josh Berry and Joey Logano there with him. Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, and Bubba Wallace all at 60. Michael McDowell, John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Dillon at 100. And the field is 20-1. Notice, once again, we have a playoff driver in the field with Harrison Burton. I still wouldn't bet the field this week. There's some guys on this page. Ross Chastain, Josh Berry. 1 race, 12th place, short track guy. This could be a place for him. You got Joey Logano on the second page here. Here's a guy that has a good history here. It's not like he's a slouch at Bristol. 20. I mean, come on, that's 30-1 shot.
Well, and I'm kind of with you on Joey Logano. You're right, 30-1. I mean, Joey Logano, amazing number. And look, Josh Berry has proven the short tracks. I mean, he's pretty good on these short tracks.
Chase Briscoe, think about what he does at Phoenix. It's not Phoenix, not like Bristol, but he has proven that he's got some chops on these short tracks.
But he has struggled at Bristol. Now he's got four races here. He's never finished in the top 10. And as you said, Bristol can be a little bit of a different animal.
He's got 13th, 14th, 27th, and 13th for Chase Briscoe. Not terrible, not great, not terrible. Maybe not a top 10, or maybe not a win, but maybe when we talk about the top threes. Maybe. Let's get to those top threes. We kick off top threes, of course, with your favorites, as usual. Denny Hamlin, plus 120. Kyle Larson, 150. Christopher Bell, 160. Ty Gibbs, 250. Brad Keselowski, 300. Chris Buescher, 400. William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., all at plus 500. Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott at 550. Josh Berry, 800. And then double-digit Chase Briscoe, 10-1. Ross Chastain is 11. Now we're talking here. Hold on. You give me
Tyler Reddick, 550.
Tyler Reddick, 550. Kyle Busch, 550. Okay, I just said I like Kyle Busch at 20-1 to win because I think he's hungry. You're giving me a top three at plus 550. I like that. I even like the Chris Buescher plus 400.
Yeah, I'd love to see him bumped up to about a 500. But I kind of agree with you. I mean, I do think that's a good number. Josh Berry plus 800.
Ryan Blaney's average finish 7.3 in the last. No, that's his qualifying. Sorry, average finish 18-1. Never mind. Take that back. Blaney, not notoriously known at Bristol to be one of his favorite places, got a couple good runs here. So I'm not on that one, but I am on. You look at that. Man, there are some good ones on that front page. I mean, even all the way down. I mean, Ross Chastain, when Ross Chastain shows up, Ross Chastain shows up.
No, I totally agree with you. And it would not surprise me. I don't know that I'm seeing Ross Chastain with the top three, but I honestly look at everybody from Josh Berry up. Say, man, they've all got a solid chance. I'm not really much on that high on Briscoe or Chastain, but I think everybody above Josh Berry, I think Chase
Elliott. What about Chase? I mean, third best point getter last 10 races.
He's above Berry. Everybody on that list.
6 top 10s last 10 races, 8th, 7th, and 2nd in the last 3. And he's sitting there with a huge number. So I don't dislike that number on Chase Briscoe even. There's some great numbers on that top page, Jeff, that kind of, I might be heavy top 3 today.
All right. Well, let's see who's got the long odds.
Let's go to the long odds then. Alex Bowman kicks off the second page with 12-1. Then Bubba Wallace, 15. Who, by the way, Bubba Wallace just signed a long-term contract extension with 2311 Racing. Congratulations.
Now, then there's another piece of paper 2311 needs to get signed here, so we can get down the road here.
Michael McDowell, John Hunter Nemechek, both at 25. AJ Allmendinger, Carson Hocevar, Noah Gragson at 28. Eric Jones, Corey LaJoie, Austin Dillon, Austin Cindric, Ryan Preece, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Daniel Suarez, all 30-1. Justin Haley, 70, with Todd Gilliland at 70-1. Let's talk about that Bubba Wallace. A lot of momentum, right? Is this a place you'd pick Bubba Wallace, though?
Probably not. I think one thing that I find kind of interesting is you've got a guy who's sitting 4th in the points right now who's 30-1. You got another guy who's 6th or 7th in the points who's also at 30-1. And I'm talking about Suarez and Cindric there. I mean, I know they haven't been, set the world on fire, but 30-1 is a pretty big number. And also, let's not forget that guy who could have won at Richmond is sitting there at 30-1 in Austin Dillon too. So those guys
at short track. How about the top of the page? 12-1 on Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman's got a 5th, an 8th, a 5th, a 4th in this. The last 2 have been 4th and 13th. Alex Bowman, persona non grata right now, of course. We've talked about that. Here's a guy that when he disappears, Jeff, he disappears. But this is a track that's good for him. 12-1, finished 4th, like I said, in the spring here.
Yeah, no, it's interesting about Alex Bowman. Like, we haven't talked about Alex Bowman as a person being a contender to win the championship.
But he's 4th in points.
Well, I was also going to say, but we also haven't talked about Alex Bowman struggling to make it to the next round, which I think I would say if you looked at it, you probably were saying between Bowman, Cindric, Suarez, Burton, and Briscoe, 4 of those 5 probably were not going to advance. And now I think we're looking at potentially only 1 or 2 of them not advancing. And Bowman is not on that list.
Bowman, there's talk about pressure on him. What's his job like? And here he is sitting 4th in points going, hey, just quit talking about me and I'll be just fine. I 12-1, I don't dislike that. I just need to see more out of him type thing, right? I don't see nothing with him.
And how about Hocevar? He's 28-1.
He shows up and when listen, here's the thing, guys, Carson Hocevar has been doing phenomenal with this Spire team. They've been running better. If you can find Hocevar, maybe not a top 3, but if you look on DraftKings, of course, these are from DraftKings, these top 3 odds right here. Go to DraftKings. They got top 5. They got top 10. If you can find a Hocevar, I bet you Hocevar still maybe a 10-1 for a top 5, even for a top 10, he might be 10-1.
And I don't know that I bet it, but it's just intriguing to me a little bit.
A top 10, if you gave me a top 10 bet, now we don't do it here on Gaughan Racing.
The top 10 bet though for Hocevar is going to be about 7
I think
to
it's
1?
7 to 10,
7,
probably
8-1.
If you find that, or if you find even a Cindric, top 10 bet, I wouldn't be against either one of those two things because I bet they're 10 or higher to 1. Even AJ Allmendinger bet would be good returns.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Allmendinger though.
But we only talk about the 3 on this show, of course. The top 3s, the wins, that sort of thing. But Jeff, there's other bets out there.
Right, and that's the thing. There's top 5s, there's top 10s, especially on DraftKings. You're right. We don't put those on our list.
So that's all I'm saying is some of these guys that we're poo-pooing for Daniel Suarez, top 10 bet, he's 30-1. If you tell me on DraftKings, he's probably 12 to 15-1 for a top 10. Boom, there's my bet right there.
Yeah, I think so because he'll be solid.
Oh, absolutely. With how well he's running right now, all he has to do is sit there and be solid. I like that bet.
No, absolutely.
All right, we come back. We'll get to the head-to-heads and, of course, the group matchups when we return on Gaughan Racing. We'll see you in a couple minutes, guys.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
No accent this time from our good friend Ann behind the glass here at the South Point Studio. Brendan Gaughan, Jeff Motley, Bristol Night Race. And Mr. Motley, we are just getting into our head-to-head bets. And there are some large numbers. The problem is the large numbers are all against Denny Hamlin.
They might be against Denny Hamlin, but one of those large numbers is attached to a guy named Kyle Larson.
You're giving me a head-to-head bet. Kyle Larson is plus 140 to Denny Hamlin's minus 160. Now, Kyle Larson to get a top 3, let's just put this in comparison. Kyle Larson to get a top 3 is plus 150. He's got to beat the whole field and be top 3 to be plus 150. Or I can get plus 140 in a head-to-head with Denny Hamlin. And look, Hamlin has a history at Bristol being great, but he also has a history in the playoffs of
Well, and certainly the last 2 weeks have not instilled confidence in the 11 team right now. There's no question about that. I mean, they've got to dig deep.
They got to straighten out. So I like that one. Brad Keselowski plus 150, Denny minus 170.
It's one of the biggest head-to-head numbers I think I've ever seen, a plus 150.
It's pretty high.
That is very high for just a straight-up head-to-head.
But it's there for a reason, I think. But what I like, Jeff, I like at the bottom. Joey Logano is plus 110 to Ross Chastain's minus 130. Now, these come from the Westgate, these head-to-heads for us. Thank you guys at the Westgate. But Joey Logano, 15.8 in the last 10 races. Ross Chastain, 22.3. 8 races, 1 top 10 for Ross, 10 races, 2 top 5s for Joey. I like that Joey bet.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a pretty good. A couple others that I kind of like down there. Tyler Reddick plus 105 against Chase Elliott. We talk about the fact that Tyler runs well here, just hadn't finished well. And the other one, and again, because I'm very bullish on him on short tracks, and I know it's against Kyle Busch, who's won here 8 times. Josh Berry plus 110 against Kyle Busch. And I think, look, the big question is, which Josh Berry do we get? And which Kyle Busch do we get? Because if we get the Kyle Busch we've seen over the last several weeks, oh, well, that's probably not a good bet. But if we also get a Kyle Busch we saw early in the season, or we see the Josh Berry we've seen on a lot of short tracks, well, then it becomes a good bet. So I find that an intriguing one. I don't know if I'm going to take it, but it's certainly one where I think there's an opportunity for a win.
It's intriguing. I don't disagree. If there's a minus side, I would take Kyle Busch minus 130 versus Ross Chastain plus 110. Kyle's history, once again, versus Ross's history, I would take the minus 130 bet. And that I think that's not a big minus. In my eyes, that's not a big enough minus number.
It's not like the minuses that Denny Hamlin's got beside of his name right now.
All right, let's get to the head-to-head or the group matchups, and we start with Group A, and
probably our biggest differential we've got.
Yeah, but I'm just not sure why they put Brad Keselowski there. Let's kick Denny Hamlin, your favorite, plus 190.
Didn't you say Brad has the best average finish over the last 10 races? And that includes a number of races with his own team. So those are not all in a Penske car.
Christopher Bell plus 290, Kyle Larson plus 290, Brad K plus 335. There's enticement there. But is Brad Keselowski enticement enough for me to jump above Denny, Seabell, and Kyle Larson?
Well, I think what is more enticing to me is seeing the fact. Look, I'm not sold on Keselowski in this group at all. But what is intriguing to me is Kyle Larson plus 290. So now I say, let's see. I got this head to head that's plus 140 against Denny Hamlin. And now you're saying, but I can go Group A against Hamlin and Bell and get a plus 290.
Scratching out.
Yeah. So that might kind of, think about it. It makes a lot more sense to go Kyle Larson.
I think this will be between Denny and Kyle. Seabell notwithstanding. I mean, Seabell is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, let me give you some stats on Chris. We haven't talked about him. 6 races, 4 top 10s, 2 top 5s, average finish 13.8. I don't dislike Seabell, but I do believe this would probably be more of a Denny-Kyle Larson showdown here. And if I got to pick one of the two, I pick Kyle. He's plus 290. I don't think that Brad Keselowski will have anything enough for him, and I don't think Seabell will. So I get a better return if I pick this in the head-to-head matchup with Denny Hamlin. So I think I just changed one of my picks, Mr. Motley.
Yeah, I like Larson here.
All right. Let's get into Group B, and Group B kicks off. How about my guy Ty Gibbs, the co-favorite in Group B with his teammate, Martin Truex Jr., 265. Ryan Blaney, Chris Buescher, both 270. No offense, the numbers are kind of boring, unfortunately. But this is a tough one. Truex, do we just take him out and say, Blaney, do his numbers say, what 18.1 last 10 races?
Everything in this group, Brendan, is pointing me to Ty Gibbs. I have lost faith in Truex. Blaney is going to just stay out of trouble. Matt Blaney just needs to stay out of trouble. Buescher, I love Chris Buescher. I just don't see Chris Buescher going back to back. I think that's and granted, he didn't have to win the race. I just think this race is tailored to Ty Gibbs.
He's 250 for a top 3, but 265 to win the group. I mean,
I like Ty Gibbs here a lot.
I gotta dang it, I don't like this because I'm 80 points to the good and you're 5, and I'm agreeing with you in the first 2 groups. That kind of has me scratching my head, but Ty Gibbs 265 to me.
I'm not so sure how to take that.
I'm just saying.
I'm trying to figure out if that was a backhanded compliment or a backhanded slap.
Slap.
Well, thanks. Yeah,
and
that's
what behind the glass is nodding their head. Slap.
And I was trying to be optimistic.
Nope. Let's go to Group C after I just knocked your glasses off. Wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? Just did. Group C, William Byron is your co-favorite. Chase Elliott, 265, and Tyler Reddick, 265. Kyle Busch, 275. Whew. Same problem we just were talking about a minute ago with Kyle Busch. Which one shows up? If the right Kyle Busch shows up, absolutely. Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott, William Byron. Throw a blanket over him for me.
Yeah, I think this is my X. This is my throw up the X.
Sirius XM listeners, this is not a good week for you. Jeff Motley and I so far have concurred on dang near every point today.
Yeah, at least I'm not in last place. I just want to point that out. I am in second place, and I am above my own Mendoza line. So you even fell below your own new
Mendoza line. Yeah.
Mendoza
I'm 79.8 points to the good. You realize that I could not hit a single win for the rest of the season, and I would end up being like 40 points to the good.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Okay, just
Thanks
checking.
for reminding us. But look, if I looked at this group and somebody said, okay, look, you've got to pick somebody, I'd probably go Tyler Reddick. But I'm not saying that with a really strong conviction.
I'd probably go William Byron. But once again, not a strong conviction. Just it's who I'd pick. Let's Group D. We got Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, and Bubba Wallace. Your favorites at 245. Michael McDowell at 360. The 360 on McDowell. Let me give you some stats. 2 top 10s in the last 10 races. 21.6 average finish. McDowell last 3 races, Jeff. Last 3 races. 11th, 6th, and 11th. Qualified 18th, 4th, and 7th. That's actually better than I was expecting.
Interesting how his better qualifying equated to better finishes, which is a lot at Bristol.
So wait till qualifying, see how he does. But Alex Bowman, we've talked, the guy that nobody's talking about, in my opinion, should be the... if you told me Alex Bowman versus Bubba Wallace and Chase Briscoe most of the season, Alex Bowman, boom, hands down. Hendrick Motorsports, best team out there.
Well, and part of me looks at this group and wants to, on face value, I want to say, oh, well, this is between Bowman and Bubba. But,
Briscoe's the highest up in points of this group, I think.
Well, I don't know if he's not the highest in Bowman's side. But, all right, like McDowell, I just don't think of McDowell at Bristol, but you just read off his last 3 finishes at Bristol have been solid.
360.
Briscoe's a guy who has not had good success at Bristol. It has not been a good track for Chase Briscoe. But Briscoe is one of those guys who's right there on the edge of advancing to the next round of the playoffs. They're going to be putting a lot into this.
He doesn't have to be spectacular. All he has to do is drive in a circle. Stay out of problems, drive in a circle.
Well, I don't know if he has to just totally stay out of problems, because I do believe that Denny Hamlin is close enough behind him, and him being tied with Ty Gibbs for that last spot, I don't think he can just ride around and make circles there.
He has to get stage points. He has to.
He needs to run well. My gut feeling is this should be between Bowman and Bubba, but I'm so torn that, and look, McDowell's 360, and you said he's got top 11 in his last 3 starts here. So I guess I got a couple of X's this week.
That would be the highest average finish in 3 starts for these guys. So I can't say that I don't dislike that we talk about enticement. There's my enticement. I kind of like that. I got to say, I kind of like that. I'm not saying I'm betting it, but I do like the McDowell Group D. I might have that as my... Like last week, I had the head-to-head that I would have won, the Ty Gibbs head-to-head that I scratched out the last minute and went Toyota as my manufacturer. That would have won me. I would have won 1 unit, but I scratched it out. So, Group E.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Group, ifs and buts for candy and nuts. Group E is Todd Gilligan and Eric Jones, your favorites at 265. Suarez and Gregson, 270. On face value, I am just going all in on Daniel Suarez here.
Me amigo.
Yeah,
I am all about Daniel Suarez. I mean, to me, this is granted, anything could happen, but to me, this is Daniel Suarez's group. I love Daniel Suarez here.
You got Suarez versus, no offense, Todd Gilliland, love him to death, but, hasn't done all that great here. 3 starts, average finish of 20. Daniel Suarez almost won this race not too long ago. 2 top 10s last 10 races, and had the one where he was leading, and got caught a couple, a little bit from the end. Just in the playoffs, pretty solid in the playoffs. He's the one that just is trying to drive around and just do circles.
Right. Suarez does need to stay out of trouble. Yeah. Stay out of trouble. Daniel's good to go for the next round. He's taking a couple little bonus points with him into the next round, and you start chopping out. I am all in on Daniel Suarez in this group.
Eric Jones has the great stats, but once again, those great stats are.
Well, a lot of those were driving with the Gibbs team, so certainly things have been a little bit different.
He's got a 5th, a 3rd, and an 8th in 5th and 3rd for Gibbs, then an 8th his first year with Richard Petty. Since then, 21, 24, and 20. So to me, I'm Daniel Suarez.
This to me is a Daniel Suarez group all the way. Honestly, when I looked at that group, I didn't even hesitate. It wasn't like, okay, well, let me make a case for Noah. Let me make a case for Eric. Let me make a case for Todd. And, I couldn't make a case for any of the 3 of them. And Daniel, I don't have to make a case for Daniel Suarez. I know how good he is.
Also, 1 playoff driver in 4.
Yeah, not only that, but 3 guys who didn't even come close to the playoffs. I mean, not even top 20.
So, I mean, this is a guy where you talk about who's going to get out of the way of some people. I think that Daniel will get a little respect being in the playoffs. So I think that'll play into it. All right, guys, when we come back, we'll give you Group F. We'll give you the manufacturers. We will briefly tell you how we did last week because we don't want to talk about it. And we'll give you our picks for this week because we do want to talk about it.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, 777s, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome back in, everybody. South Point Studio, Jeff Motley, Brennan Gaughan. We're on the last group of the Bristol Night Race on Gaughan Racing this week. And Jeff, the Group F, it's not exciting on number-wise, but it's actually tighter than it looks. Austin Dillon, Carson Hosfire 265, Priest, Cindric 270. Guess who has the best average finish in their races here?
Well, I would originally think Austin Dillon.
Priest.
And you know what's funny? If I took this group and I said, okay, I'm going to make this a 3-person group, he's probably the one I would take out.
15.3 in 7 races, 1 top 10 for Priest. And I mean, just 14, 12, 17, 9, 12, 16. Priest just seems to, remember, he that modified guy, that short track guy. And Dillon is the guy that I would have said, Dillon's got 1 top 10, but average finish 18.1.
And do you buy into your theory that you used on Group E with Suarez that you got one playoff guy here, the other guys won't run him that hard?
Cindric, I think Cindric right now, he's average finish 27 here. So Cindric has 3 races, has not done well in any of the 3. And I think Cindric right now, if I'm Austin Cindric and I'm his dad, I don't know if I can do a quick math on the points here.
He needs to stay out of trouble.
He's 40 points. All he has to do is not be dead last. So
Right.
Cindric, I think right now is thinking he's going around that track going, don't hit, don't hit, don't
Right.
hit, don't hit. You know what I mean?
No,
So,
I agree with you.
So I think you can actually remove him in this case, which gives me a Hocevar Dillon Priest battle. Dillon did great at Richmond.
Hocevar's got some momentum, and
Hocevar,
he's
dude,
fearless.
It's so funny. This kid came out of nowhere.
He
Didn't
really did. He really did.
It
is one of the big teams will sign him in the next 2 years.
I think so. I think he's got a little growing up to do, but I think
he's young.
But he just
we bring these kids in at such a young age, and
no, I'm there.
He'll be fine.
I'm a fan of his right now. I did a deal with him at Daytona this year, and kind of started paying attention. I do dig him. But I can't give a Priest or Dillon to me in my eyes, but it's a tough one.
Tough group. I won't be picking this one.
Let's get to manufacturer props. Toyota, your favorite, a la Denny Hamlin, Seabell, plus 110. Chevy, plus 200. Ford, plus 230. That Chevy plus 200 bet, Jeff, does not look bad to me.
I do like that. And look, Ford 230 is not even bad. I mean, granted, that's kind of putting a lot of eggs, I guess, really in the Logano. Blaney basket, maybe. Well, Busher, though. Busher and Keselowski both. So I think you could be okay going Chevy or Ford, either one right here. I think those are good enough numbers. I'm not going to bet it. I rarely ever bet the manufacturer. I know sometimes you've cashed in on it, but yeah, that's not for me, is betting the manufacturer.
Plus 200. Let's get real quick championship odds, and I am going to go scream at Jimmy and Chris again. We have a field bet in the championship odds.
Clearly, they listen to you when you go back there.
Clearly, they just don't like to type the name Harrison Burton out, because Harrison Burton is the field, and Harrison Burton is 1,000 to 1. That is the correct number on Harrison Burton. He is last in the points. But still, could you just type his name? You don't need a field bet and everything. Goodness gracious. Them guys showing their age on that one. It's
you got a couple guys who, for the most part, are locked into the next round.
I'm just going there. You look at Austin Cindric, 40 to 1. You look at Daniel Suarez, 50 to 1. And Alex Bowman, 25 to 1. Those odds are going to shrink tremendously here in a matter of
few days.
3 days.
Right.
And that is going to be, those numbers will shrink. So I like that. Seabell plus 300 now. That somebody must have put a bunch of money at South Point on him, because that brought him way down. I still like the Tyler Reddick plus 700. I love William Byron, Chase Elliott plus 800.
Larson at 500.
I still like a lot of these numbers. Great hedge bet. I know the NASCAR fans don't understand hedge bet.
I tell you what's amazing to me is that Denny's below the cut line and still at plus 400.
400.
I would think now would be the opportunity to try to raise his number a little bit.
South Point don't need any extra money on him. Whatever we got, I promise you, there's some on Denny. We don't need that. Let's briefly, Mr. Motley. Oh no, we said we wanted to do this real quick. The 4 drivers we think that will be out after this. We left us a little bit of time. Who do you think will miss the next round?
My 4 that go home, I'm going Burton, Truex, Keselowski, Briscoe. That's my 4 going home.
Okay. I'm agreeing with you, Harrison. I'm agreeing with you, Truex. I think Brad has a good race, but 12 points is a lot to make up. I think Brad is in trouble. And I got to say Briscoe or Denny. I'm going to say Denny.
I think Denny finds a way to advance.
I think Denny finds a way.
And that's why I think
Briscoe.
It really comes down to Briscoe and Gibbs.
Yep.
And I just think Gibbs will run better than Briscoe.
So do I.
Oh, so we're in total agreement on this.
Yeah, we were. No, because I said Brad Keselowski.
I did.
Oh, you did too.
Brad, Truex, Burton, and Briscoe.
This is the Bizarro World show of the Super Friends. We are like agreeing way too much today.
And you don't like to agree with the guy who's been wrong more than you have.
Well, as we talk about last week, we can talk about season totals. Plus 5 units to plus 79.5 units. So I don't like to agree with you.
After last week, I'm just happy to be plus.
Yeah, we were 0 for 15 last week, folks. We are honest on our show.
But look at that top 10 Now look, I will say this: we made one grave error, and that was we underestimated Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yes, we did.
And we did do that. Yep. However, when I look at the rest of that top 10,
nobody had that. I'm sorry.
I mean, Busher winning. Okay, I'll give you that. He's a solid road course guy. Don't get me wrong.
Busher, but
we talked about Busher.
But Blaney, you lost Blaney on lap 1. And Hamlin on lap 1. I lost Hamlin and Busch on lap 1.
Larson was never a factor.
Yeah, and
Keselowski had everything but the pace car.
The pit crew had lost Hamlin on lap 1 and Busch on lap 1. Dinger never really showed up to play like we thought he would. So,
and then he had a mechanical problem, and
yeah,
he was out. And I think he finished dead last, didn't he?
No, Blaney was dead last.
Oh, Blaney.
So it was a rough week for all of us here, and that is why it's betting. That's why you get a whole season of it, not just one little blip. But that did put the pit crew very, very, very close to the Mendoza line, Jeffrey.
Yes, I believe they were like 0.6
units to the good. You are 5.8 units to the good, and I am 79.55 units to the good. So little tight quarters here.
Yeah, I just want to stay ahead of the pit crew. Since I took my 100-1 shot on Keselowski last week,
that was a bad shot.
Try to chase you down. Well, look, I only lost 1 point. And guess what? Given the way that race went, I wouldn't have gotten anything else right either. So doesn't really matter.
Should have picked Boucher. He was 20-1. His teammate.
That wouldn't have caught you. That's what I was trying to do. I may take one.
You just wanted to catch me with one shot.
I would like to try to take one more shot at you at Talladega, but my fear is no one will be bigger than like 40 or 50 to 1 at Talladega, and I won't be able to.
Mm-hmm. Listen, that's your story. Let's kick this off, and last to first, and last, of course, is the pit crew. So the pit crew, they're taking a page out of what I started the show with. They're going to go heavy on the top threes. They're going to go Busch with a top 3 at 550, which I like. Reddick with a top 3 at 550, which I also don't dislike. And Elliott with a top 3 at plus 550. I don't dislike that they're trying to play the top 3 game. They could hit 2 of those, Jeff, and have a great day. They're taking Larson Group A, which we talked a lot about in the groups, and they're taking Larson over Hamlin at plus 140. This is,
See, that's a tough one there because look, you're all in on Larson, but.
Yeah, but I just don't like what I'm seeing from the pit crew or you. You guys are plus 0.8 and plus 5.8 and up plus 80, and like I'm looking at my little card.
And you're
here.
agreeing with us, huh?
I don't like this.
Well, I'm in agreement. The pit crew and I are going to go same on 2 picks. So I am in agreement on Tyler Reddick for top 3 at plus 550.
Okay.
I am going to go into the driver head-to-heads, and I had circled Larson over Hamlin and actually changed my mind and decided to only go Larson in the group. So I went away from the pit crew there, but I am sticking on my Tyler Reddick bandwagon. I'm taking him plus 105 over Chase Elliott.
All right.
And then the rest of my picks are going to go into groups. I do like Kyle Larson, Group A, plus 290. Group B, I said I'm all in on Ty Gibbs at plus 265. I like Gibbs there. And look, I think I pretty much made it clear. I'm all in Daniel Suarez, mi amigo, in Group E.
Muchachito. I'm not happy today. Oh, I just don't like what I'm seeing out of you two right now. This is very disheartening for me.
Then go opposite of us.
Yeah, the problem. Listen, if I go for 5, I'm 75 units to the good.
You think we're idiots anyway? So
I do not. Well, I do not think you're idiots.
Maybe that's a harsh term.
That's a harsh.
You think
term.
We're very poor at picking this stuff?
That's a harsh nugget term. I think look, we're all. Hey, listen, we do a show about gambling in NASCAR, and all of us, if you listen to us all season long, it doesn't matter who you're listening to, you're up. Now you're up.
Here we are.
Listen,
correct.
You could be up tens of thousands of dollars with me. I'm just saying, but you're up with all of us.
I tell you, you sound like those guys that are on it, like the freaking buy 30 minutes of airtime at 5 o'clock on Sunday morning. Get my picks.
I don't need to buy the 10. I got Sirius XM blasting mine out, baby.
I will say this: I love the fact that those guys don't ever tell you when they get them wrong.
No, and they give you half. One guy gets half, and the other guy gets.
At least
the other
we
half.
admitted it. We all went.
That's right.
0 for 5 last week.
All right, I am going to do one top 3. And I think Kyle Busch top 3 at the plus 550. I do believe that Kyle, I'm hoping for the old Kyle this week. And what I saw out of them before the road course, I liked. So I think I'm going for Kyle Busch 20-1 or top 3, not 21. Sorry, plus 550. I do like that. And then I'm going to go to the head-to-heads with Joey versus Ross, taking the plus 110 Joey Logano versus Ross Chastain. That is I just think that's a low-hanging fruit for me. Then I'm going to agree with a bunch of people here. I am going Larson Group A, which means we have just given Larson the kiss of death.
Yep. Sorry, Kyle.
Just make the playoffs. That's all I care about.
Just go drink some of that City Light Shine with your
Kyle.
picture on the side of the bottle.
When you get here. I'm going Ty Gibbs in Group B because I also like Ty Gibbs Group B. And then I'm going to go to differentiate from all you guys. I'm taking Chevy for the W, Chevrolet plus 200 in the manufacturers.
I'm actually surprised you didn't take that Suarez in Group B so you and I could have 3.
No, I could not do
picks.
that. That is against my religion. I could not let that happen. So I had to toss that one. I had to toss it.
All right. Understandable. Fair enough.
Well, Mr. Motley, we're done with another show. Hopefully we did well for the fans this week, unlike last week. And
I feel like, even though Bristol's crazy, I do feel like Bristol's also a little bit more predictable than Watkins Glen.
Can you believe we're saying this? Bristol is the least wild card race.
Well, you don't get a lot of upsets. The really good drivers usually win at Bristol.
Here. No, that's true. And
it's not going to be a fuel mileage race.
It's
anything like
I'll
that.
tell you what, fantastic race. Love the fact this first playoff round, getting to the second round. We'll see you guys next week. We'll see you guys soon in Vegas. Hopefully there'll be some Kyle Larson bottles left for you. If not, sorry, love you. We'll talk to you next week on Gaughan Racing. We break down Bristol and talk about everything Kansas.